Hello and welcome to Crafting with Madam K. So this is going to be a very quick episode of just a quick little hack that I do when I'm tracing my patterns onto my leather. So there's a few different ways that you can trace your patterns onto your leather, and most commonly it's to use a pen or a pencil on the back side of the leather that you cut the line off so you don't see it, but sometimes you make a mistake and then you can't get that pen or the pencil off, and now you have this permanent ink mark on the back of your leather, which may not be an issue since it's on the back, but I try to leave as little crafting marks on my work as possible. So this is going to be a demo on tracing patterns on a utility side. So this isn't, it will work actually on the tooling leather, not as well as on the utility side though. This is the types of leather that almost feel like they have a suede finish but are still smooth, they're not fuzzy. They're a softer leather, and what I do is I scratch the surface. When you scratch the surface going one way across the leather, it almost leaves a white line on top of your dark brown, which is really easy to see when cutting. And then when you clean your leather, when the project is complete, or even when you put your conditioner on, you're not even going to be able to see that line. And ultimately, it's our cut line, so in theory, we shouldn't see the line anyways, but right now I'm cutting out an apron, and it's a very long square pattern. So it's really easy, at least for me, to accidentally have my ruler tilted at an angle, and then by the time I get to the other side, 30 inches away, I'm now a ½ inch short on one side and I have to redraw the line. So that's where this comes in handy. What I'm using is, this is actually a tool set for modeling clay. So people that work with Sculpey clay have different tools that scoop and everything to cut the clay, and one of them is a very sharp point. You could probably use your stitching awl if you have one. Anything that comes to a point, but I wouldn't go as fine as a sewing needle. Something like a fine pointed knitting needle would work too. Just anything with that fine point. Something that's going to scratch the surface. And then, so here, I'm actually doing a line for, it's going to be a 54-inch belt. So I really need to make sure this line is straight, so there's a lot of room for error, which is why I want to use this technique. So on the front of the leather, not on the back, you line it up, and you can just go ahead and just scratch it, and now you see that there's a white line on the leather that I can now follow with my knife. And when you clean it, you get one of those sponges and you apply a little bit of water or cleaner, whatever it is you're using to clean it at the end. If you do have any marks, it wipes right off. So you're not going to see it again. So once the leather's clean, or even once you add your conditioner, that conditioner is going to buff that right out, and you're not even going to see any lines or marks. So I definitely prefer this method over tracing my pattern on the back and having pen lines show up. I've used it, I have used it on tooling leather. It will cause a little bit of a tooled indent, so that is kind of even harder to get out of there. So normally with tooling leather, I'll still use a pencil on the back side, but when I'm working with utility sides or anything that can scratch the surface, I use this technique and it works out really well. So thanks for tuning in and having coffee with Madam K. Again, it may not be the right way, but it's the Madam K way. Be sure to check out my next video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.